All right, let's dive into a model for leadership that's, frankly, a game changer. We're going to talk about how you can connect a really powerful vision with the nuts and bolts of actually getting things done, turning those big, exciting ideas into real-world results. You've probably seen this yourself, right? It's a question that keeps every leader up at night. You can have two teams, same talent, same resources, but one is just on fire, innovating, crushing goals, while the other is just getting by. So what's the secret sauce? It's not about working harder, it's about working with purpose.
You know, we're in the middle of this massive shift in how leadership works. The old way was all top-down commands, just focusing on what needs to be done. But let's be honest, that whole approach is totally running out of steam. People today, they want to believe in what they're doing. So the best leaders now focus on the why. They don't motivate with control, they motivate with inspiration.
Okay, so if that's the goal, how do you actually build that inspiration? Well, it all starts with a vision. And for that, we've got to look at the incredible ideas in Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And look, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. The numbers here are absolutely staggering. A Deloitte survey found employee engagement just skyrockets. We're talking 73% in companies that are driven by purpose. Compare that to just 23% everywhere else. That huge gap exists for one simple reason. A clear purpose taps into our need to be part of something bigger than ourselves. It turns a job into a mission.
And it's not just about how engaged people are day to day, it's about whether they stick around. According to McKinsey, when people feel their work is meaningful, they're 3 times more likely to stay. I mean, think about that. In a world where keeping your best people is everything, purpose isn't a nice to have, it's your most powerful tool for retention.
So we know we need a purpose, but how do you define it? And just as important, how do you communicate it? This is where Simon Sinek's Golden Circle comes in. It's such a simple but totally profound framework that just flips how we usually talk about what we do.
See, most companies communicate from the outside in. They start with what they do. We sell widgets. Sometimes they'll explain how they do it differently, but the why, their core belief, that's almost an afterthought. The most inspiring leaders in organizations do the exact opposite. They start with their purpose, their why. Then they talk about how their values and actions bring that to life. And finally, the what, the products, the services, that's just the tangible proof of their core belief.
Let me give you a classic example of this in action. Back in the early 1900s, Samuel Langley was the guy everyone was betting on to invent the airplane. He had government funding, a brilliant team. He had everything. But his motivation? He wanted to be rich and famous. Meanwhile, over in a small workshop, the Wright brothers were driven by something else entirely, a deep, unshakable belief that human flight could change the world.
And, well, we all know how this story ends, right? On December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And Langley? He quit almost immediately after they succeeded. Why? Because when his external motivation, the money and the fame, disappeared, he had nothing left to drive him. The Wrights' internal why was what fueled them through every single failure, proving that a powerful purpose will always beat resources alone.
But here's the thing, an inspiring vision is only half the battle. The Wright brothers didn't just have a why, they had a workshop, a system for testing, failing, and rebuilding. That's the part we so often forget. To turn a vision into reality, you need a ruthlessly effective system for execution. This is where we pull some key insights from the book Rework to build our playbook.
The modern workplace is basically engineered for failure, not because people are lazy, but because the #1 enemy of execution is constant distraction. It's not just about losing a few seconds to a notification. It's about the deep mental cost of constantly switching gears, which just demolishes momentum and drains the energy you need to solve real problems.
So Rework gives us this amazing playbook to protect our focus. It's all about aggressively cutting out the stuff that feels like work but isn't. Take meetings. The Rework philosophy sees them as an absolute last resort, not the default. And why is that? Because a 1-hour meeting with 10 people isn't a 1-hour meeting, it's a 10-hour productivity cost. When you swap that for empowered ownership, you don't just save time, you build a culture of action and trust.
Okay, so this is where it all clicks. When you combine that inspiring vision with a really practical playbook for getting things done, you create a leadership model that is truly unstoppable.
Think of it this way. Start with why gives you the destination, that clear, compelling vision of where you're going. But Rework gives you the path and the tools, the practical, no-nonsense playbook for how you'll actually get there. One without the other is incomplete. Vision without execution is just a dream, and execution without vision is just a grind. You need both.
So, how can you put this into action? Here's your toolkit. First, you have to define, and then relentlessly communicate your team's why. Next, cut the noise. Get rid of pointless meetings, give your team real ownership, and constantly connect their daily tasks back to that bigger mission.
Now, a common question is, okay, but what about the bottom line? People often think it's a choice between purpose or profit, but that's not it at all. The relationship is actually pretty simple. Purpose provides the direction for the journey, and profit provides the fuel to keep going. They work together, not against each other.
So I'll leave you with this. Every single person on your team can probably tell you what they do every day. But how many of them can clearly tell you why they do it? The answer to that question, well, that could change everything.